Hello, this is chapter 15, dealing with inflation and the debt bomb. Read chapter 15 first and then take a look at this short highlight, this short synopsis of the video where I just talk about the main points. So as you're probably surmising, we are seeing some repetition and some recurring themes in some of these chapters. So here again, we're talking about how higher spending must be matched with higher taxes. And there's been record-breaking spending, record-breaking government spending, really beginning in 2001 when we had, when 9/11 happened. To finance the war on terror, the Bush administration started increased government spending pretty dramatically. Then towards the end of his administration, we had the beginning of the financial meltdown and the recession. Spending increased more. Obama inherited that mess and he continued with the increased spending. Trump comes in office and COVID hits towards the end of his administration. Spending increases even more. And then Biden has increased spending even more with COVID and other programs. So the way that government spending is usually accomplished is they sell bonds and they print money. That causes inflation. And so you can't just continue to spend money willy-nilly and give people money, which, I mean, this whole COVID situation where they just were giving people stimulus money, whether or not they needed it, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's going to be really interesting to see how history looks back on that, because it just it was just such a waste, and we're seeing the repercussions now in inflation, repercussions of that. So anyway, I wrote these notes last spring. So just last spring, just a year ago, we didn't have inflation, but there were inflation worries due to this excessive spending and stimulus of the Biden administration. So we were seeing if the Federal Reserve could keep inflation in check. Obviously, they haven't been able to, because now we've got inflation. We've seen the largest increase in inflation since the 1980s. So as of fall of 2021, the Fed policy was to maintain long-run inflation at a rate of 2%. We've got inflation now at around that's around 6% or so. So they are failing miserably at that. So now what they're doing is they're trying to raise interest rates to try to curb inflation. So I think that they're going to be successful in doing that, or somewhat successful. They've raised interest rates a quarter point. They're going to raise interest rates again a quarter point, probably 3 more times this year, maybe even a half a point. By points I mean percentage. So I think, you know, they're trying to keep inflation in check. They certainly don't want us to go back to the 1980s when we had 20+% inflation in the early 80s and late 70s. So anyway, in a nutshell, that's what this chapter is about. So just read the chapter first and then take a look at these notes. Take care, and I will see you next time for chapter 16.